Hello, I'm Rabbi Katz, and I have a story to tell you. Once, in the old country where many good stories happened, there was a man who was a merchant. He would sell his wares in town. But once a month, he would load up his wagon and he would go from his town over the mountain to other towns in order to sell what he had to sell. It was on these occasions that he took his son with him. Now, nothing much happened on these trips, but his son was always excited because they had to go over the mountains in order to get to the other towns. And that was something special. There was only one road out of town, up the mountain, and on one side, as they went up the side of the mountain, was the mountain itself, and on the other side was a cliff looking down. Well, the son loved these journeys with his father, and every month he looked forward to them. So it was that they were traveling up over the mountain and circling around the mountain when all of a sudden the horse that was leading the wagon all of a sudden stopped. What was it? Well, what it was that there were a pile of rocks in the middle of the road, and the wagon could go neither to the left, where the cliff was, or to the right, where the mountain was. They were stuck. The son said to his father, "Father, I think I know what to do." The father said, "Okay." The boy got out of the wagon, climbed off, went to the pile of rocks, and started to take all the rocks and push them over the cliff. Well, all seemed to be going well, except at the very conclusion, after 2 hours of hard work, there was one big rock that remained in the road. The horse could go neither to the left or to the right. It seemed that they were stuck. The boy said, "Father, I have an idea." And he took out of the wagon a long rope. He tied it around that big rock and he tried to drag it as best he could out of the middle of the road. But alas, he could not move it. The father looked at the boy and he said, "Have you done everything that you could do?" The boy thought to himself, did I do everything that I could do? And then he had an idea. He went to the back of the wagon and he took out a big plank, a big piece of lumber, a big piece of wood, and he put it under the stone, and he began to try to lift the stone and roll it off the side of the cliff. But after a long time, he realized that he could not budge it. The father looked at his son and said, "My son, have you done everything that you could do?" The boy looked. He wondered to himself, could he do everything? Did he do everything that he could possibly do? And then he thought to himself, I know. And he put himself up against the wagon and he moved. Well, the horse moved the wagon, and he wondered if he could push it with his back against the wagon. And he pushed and he pushed with his back against the wagon, but he could not budge that rock. "Father," he said, "I cannot do it." His father looked at him and said, "My son, did you do everything that you could do?" By this time, the boy was really upset, and he looked at his father and he said, "Father, I've done everything that I could do." His father looked at his son and he said, "Well, you've done everything except one thing." "What?" said the boy. The father turned to his son and said, "You haven't asked me for help." And with that, the father came down off of the wagon, and together the father and the son pushed that rock over the cliff. The father turned to his son one last time and said, "My son, never, never be bashful. Never, never hesitate to ask for help, whether it's from your father or your mother or your teacher or a friend. Also, my son, it is never, ever wrong, bad, to ask God for help as well. For God will help. God will help you whenever there is an obstacle in the road, something that you cannot move. Never, ever be bashful, embarrassed to ask anyone for help." And that, my friends, is the story of one father and one son. And I think we understand the lesson. Whenever you have a challenge, whenever you have a difficulty, do your very, very best. But never, ever be bashful or embarrassed to ask for help. You take care. This is Rabbi Katz.